the bags for the Boy Scouts to collect the food, all of that, about $6 grand. Okay? Net income $39,000, which is a 765% return on your investment. I promise you, you will not get that on Wall Street. Okay? By the way, the first time I taught this class, this material back in February, I shared this whole presentation with Lisa Roth, who is our guru geo farmer. And she said, Frank, I was really loving it. In fact, I got so many ideas out of what you were saying that I'd never even thought of until I got to this slide. And she's like, there's no way that can be true. 765%. So she said, I did my own calculation on my numbers, and I was over 1,200% ROI. Okay? You can make money geo-farming, okay? But you just have to be committed to the long term, and keep in mind it's more than postcards. I've got to hold the open houses, I've got to do the community campaigns, I've got to be the hub of the community. I've got to get the URL, I've got to get the marketing slogan. I am that community, okay? That's what it's going to take to get 20% personal market share. Okay, so let's talk about demographic farming here for just a moment. If geographic farming is a long-term commitment, demographic farming is for agents who are into instant gratification. Okay? I can't wait. I don't want to wait a year for my first listing in my neighborhood. Okay? I want results now. Anybody feel like that? Anybody like, I need listings right now? I need business right now? Demographic farming is the way to go. Okay, so let me describe that. Well, somebody define it for us, because we've already been over this. I'm going to see if you were listening. Which M&Ms describe demographic farming? That's right, all the green M&Ms, right? So what does that mean? What is a demographic or sociological group? People who share very similar characteristics, okay? Geographic farming, we're just casting our seed to everybody in the neighborhood. Demographic farming, we're getting extremely narrow, laser focus on people that we know by experience are far more likely to have a need for a real estate transaction. What percentage of homes are going to sell every year? Come on now. You weren't here. They were. 15%, 1 out of 7 statistically nationally. What if you could identify a group of people who 50% are going to have a real estate transaction this year? Would it make sense? We call that fishing in a stocked pond, right? Okay? You're far more likely to get a deal. So with demographic farming, 1, 2, or 3 mailings is sufficient. You're not mailing every month from now to infinity like a geo farm. You're going to hit it once, twice, maybe 3 times, and you're out of there. You're moving on to another group, okay? And you're going to have to use USPS bulk mail because your people demographically don't fit narrowly onto a postal route, okay? And so your mailing cost is going to go up to 29 cents per piece instead of 49 cents, okay? I am such a believer in bulk mail, I went to the Spring Post Office earlier this week to sign up for a bulk mail account. You know what it costs? $220 to establish your account. And if you want an insignia that you can actually put right on your postcard so you don't have to hand stamp each one, oh, that's an additional $220. I got out my checkbook to write a check for $440. You know what the postal guy said to me? He said, what RE/MAX office did you say you're with? I said, the Woodlands and Spring. He said, you don't need to do that. You've already got an account. I said, what? What? He said, yes, several of your agents use your bulk mail permit. So I immediately called back to the office, and I have confirmed this morning we have a bulk mail permit, okay? So you don't have to pay anything to get it. And Dana, if you're interested, go see Dana. She's got all the details. And you can have that printed right on your postcards or letters, okay? Now, if you're going to do bulk mail, there's lots of rules. It's kind of like every door direct. You got to put them in groups. You got to have your facing sheets. It's the same way with bulk mail. I haven't done my first one yet. I'll do my first one over the next 2 or 3 weeks and share with you what I learned. But there are several agents in the office who are doing bulk mail regularly. Lisa Roth, the Lips team, Dee Dee Wims has started bulk mailing. Anybody here doing it? Okay, so if you want to demo farm, chat with one of them about their experience, or chat with me in 2 or 3 weeks, and I will have gone through it by then. There is a minimum quantity of 200, but if you're going to do it consistently, that's what I would do. I would learn the process, I would get the supplies, and at 29 cents you can still mail to, what, 500 people for $150 a month. That's pretty inexpensive. Okay, so our friend Scott Jones met with me recently, and I asked him, based upon his experience, because he is a source of demographic data, which I'm going to share in just a moment, what are the profiles that agents are using right now that are getting results? And these are 3 that he mentioned to me. First of all, vacant lots that have been owned for at least 3 years. Okay, think of Bender's Landing, think of Bentwater. And the message to this group is, hey, are you aware that lot prices have doubled in the last 6 months? Or lot prices have gone up 45% in the last year? Whatever the statistics are for the area that you're mailing into. Because a lot of these lots have been sitting there for years because the owners couldn't afford to sell them, or they paid more for them than they're currently worth and they're not willing to take a loss, but they would love to dump that property and the taxes associated with it. Sometimes homeowner association fees associated with vacant lots. So Scott said he knows agents getting fantastic results with that message right there. Now you want to target lots, I would say a minimum value of 50 grand, right? You don't want to target $5,000 lots. That's a lot of hard work to make 200 bucks, okay? But target those lot owners and you can get a volume of business fairly quickly. Here's another profile. They're married, they have kids, they've been in their home 4 to 9 years. They're in a home that's 2,100 square feet and smaller. What do you think their real estate need is? They need a bigger house, don't they? Oh my goodness, yes. If they've been in the house that number of years, those kids are growing, right? The rooms are getting smaller. And so there's so many different pitches that you can make. You can go out and identify, for example, subject properties that are currently on the market that they might be interested in, right? And say, are you aware that you can buy a 3,000 square foot home in this same school district, because that's big to a lot of families with kids, for a monthly payment of only X, okay? Asterisk, call me for full details, or put it in the fine print or whatever, okay? Sale price, down payment, interest rate, that kind of thing. Could that be an attractive message? Well, Scott says agents are getting results with that. Here's a third profile. 56 plus years of age, in a 2-story home. They've got 30% plus equity, 4,500 plus square feet, and no kids. Don't they ever, okay? And Scott said one powerful message on the postcard there was, how long has it been since you went upstairs? By the way, that describes my mother right there and her husband up in Bentwater. This big home up on the lake, 2-story. My mom can't even walk up the stairs. She never, ever goes upstairs. She can't. And her husband has no need to go upstairs. Right? It just sits vacant. Literally no human presence for months and months on end. Okay? There's an opportunity there. Okay, and Scott shared with me that what one agent is doing here is going out and identifying new builder inventory, homes that are under construction. Because people who are downsizing at this age, think 4,500 square feet, right? Those aren't cheap homes. These are people with money, okay? 56, they're at the high earning years. They've got equity in their home. What are they wanting? They're wanting a nice home, a single story, probably new, because they're not into fixer-uppers, right? These aren't the 30-year-olds. And golf course communities. So go out, talk to your builders, find out what plans they're building, get some photos of some finished inventory that they are currently building, new homes of, feature them on the postcards, and say these properties are going to be available in this lovely golf course community of X over the next 60 to 120 days. If you'd like to schedule a showing, give me a call. Okay? Builder might even pay for the postcards. Okay, since you're promoting their properties. So Demographic farming, again, you're not going to mail to these groups of people over and over and over. You're going to hit it. If they have a need, they're going to respond. Maybe hit them again, maybe 3 times, and then move on. Because you can actually buy these lists very inexpensively. And where do you do that? How about that guy right there? How about that? Did you know you're on Google Images? Yeah. It was right next to a story about an axe murderer, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I don't have time to read that, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to see what that was about. But anyways, Scott can hook you up. Is it reisource.com? Yes, sir. But Scott's got to create an account for you. You can't just go there and get it. But you go in and can get extremely detailed, okay? Violin players who speak Portuguese, okay? Whose last name ends in whatever. It's unbelievable how targeted you can get. And that's why I said to Scott, okay, there's a million choices. Tell me what profiles are working. And those are just 3 of the samples that he gave me. When I say the cost is about 8 cents, that's because it starts, just the name and address is extremely low, like let's say a penny, but then every time you add an additional demographic criteria, there's an additional cost. I pulled a list recently, because Tomball's kind of my target area, that 3rd profile, 56 plus, 4,500 square feet, 30% equity. By the time I got all my criteria in, it was about 8 cents a prospect. In the whole city of Tomball, there were about 220 people who fit that profile, and the list cost me 20 bucks. Okay? And it's mine. I've got the list. I can use it as often as I want, throw it away or whatever. Okay? It's not like you have to keep paying. So if you're into demographic farming or you want to give it a shot, I would say talk to Scott. Okay? And he can hook you up. Okay? All right. I want to do network farming, and this is the last thing I want to share with you, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because all of last week was about network farming, right? And if you didn't get that, if you weren't here for that class, I am uploading it. It might actually be on YouTube already. If not, I'll confirm and get it up today. And I'm also happy to get you a copy of the manual if you want that. Network farming, see last week's notes. You're going to use the bulk mail service. If you network or demo farm, my preference in farming to the people who know you, like you, trust you, your network, or the people who have responded positively to your marketing campaign is to send testimonials. Okay? And I would never use that word in your marketing materials. If you have to use a word like that, use the word reviews, because that's what people relate to today. They want reviews. In the big personal promotion brochure I shared with you in the network class, featuring client testimonials, the whole section is labeled reviews. I think network farming is the most efficient farming method because the recipients are predisposed to work with you. Okay? They already know you, hopefully trust you, or they have responded to your marketing efforts indicating that they have a real estate need. Now, again, as we talked about in class, there's some work getting ready for this. In fact, I have been working on my network for several weeks now, and I still don't have everybody that I know in one database. I would suggest, if you decide to network farm, use LeadStreet. It's a great database. It gets better all the time. There's all kinds of training and tech support behind that. It does exactly what we need it to do for a network farm. But in order of priority, if you're like, okay, I haven't done anything yet, what am I going to do? I would say build your network. Build your network. That's the low-hanging fruit. The second level, I would say, is demographic farming because of the immediate results you can get. You can literally send out one mailing to 500 people and get 5 solid leads out of it. Okay? 5 people that you start working with. And then third would be geographic farming. It's a longer cycle to generate business. It's a lot more work than network and demo farming. But if you're committed to it for the long term, it can become highly efficient over time. Because as you get the yard signs in yards, you don't have to advertise as much. Your yard signs are doing the speaking for you. The yard signs are generating the buyer inquiries as well. Highly efficient over the long term. But if you're into immediate gratification, demo farming. You don't have to know anybody in Houston, right? You can buy a list, mail to it tomorrow, and get clients that you're showing next week, okay? Very quick. Network farming is going to be your highest ROI because those people are predisposed to use you, and then for long-term geo. So there's a place for all of it. Does that make sense? All right, that's what I wanted to share with you. Any questions, comments, objections?
Very helpful.
Okay. Does any of it not make sense to you? Okay, one last question. Has anybody made an internal commitment since we started an hour ago, I am going to do X? What's that?
I really wanted to, in my farm area, there's a newer area, new section, but it's mainly older homes, so I thought that it would be perfect to, get the list of families that are needing to get into a bigger house.
Yes. Okay.
And that have been in our homes a number of years, so I think that's something that would be really advantageous because I really like instant gratification.
Yeah, okay. There we go. A moment of truth. Yes. Guess what? We all do. We all do. We'd all like more business right now, and there are ways to do that. Okay? All right. Disclosure. We will not have class the next 2 weeks. To my great regret. But next week next Thursday I have to be out of town at a mastermind training event where I'm going to get trained on how to do this kind of stuff. And the following week I'm going to be in Denver all week at the world headquarters for their management training class. Okay? So we'll be out the next 2 Thursdays. No class, no rookie ICU, but then we're going to hit it hard. I'm very excited. What's going to be coming immediately after that. I'm going to do Leverage Summit for a couple weeks, which is how you start building your own team. And you can start building leverage in your business even before you start hiring people by your methods, and I'm going to share that. And then in June, we're going to have 4 different top agents in our company speak each week. And they're all going to speak on the same subject, which is my top strategies and suggestions for growing your business right now. So these are 4 top agents in our company who are doing it right now, and they're going to share all their best ideas. You're going to hear that 4 weeks in a row in June. I've already got 2 of them nailed down. I've got 1 on the fence, and the 4th one is still open. I have a couple invitations out, but these are the top agents in our company, which I may remind you is the top RE/MAX office in the state of Texas. All right? Thanks, guys.